Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Stefan, and if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the bell so you're notified whenever I upload new content. And if you're a returning subscriber, well, welcome back. We are going to be doing something a little different today than I usually do. In the past, I have filmed full tutorials beginning to end with minimal explanation of what I am doing during the process. For this video today, I'm going to be walking you through a basic foundation video. Basically, this will be a video dedicated to basic flawless foundation for dummies. If that's politically correct, I don't know. Somebody asked me on one of my Vlogmas videos to upload something that is so simplified that anybody could follow it, and anybody could follow it from basic foundation to full glam, like full coverage, whatever you might need. And I thought this was a great idea because foundation is something I usually skip when I am working on my face. I usually tell my viewers what foundation I'm using, what concealer I'm using, and I usually just go about the rest of the look. So this is going to be a little bit different. I have the products here in front of me that I'm going to go through that you should have in your arsenal if you're going to be diving into doing basic foundation. And that can be basic, medium, full coverage, whatever it might be. You're going to need the same products, and there is a variety to choose from. So I'm just going to go over what I feel is my go-to type products and what I love using the most and why. There's obviously lots of options out there, and you can find another video talking about them most likely, but today I'm going to focus on liquid foundation application for the beginner, and we will jump right into the video. This video will also be the first in a series of basic makeup tutorials for beginners. I'm going to be filming this foundation video. I'm going to be filming a video that focuses on contour, blush, bronzer, etc. And I'm going to film how to create a very basic eye look. This will be a 3-series video, and each video is going to focus on a different aspect of the getting ready routine. So to start off, I'm going to go through the products that I have in front of me that we will be using in today's video. And like I said, there's many options for different products when doing the base of your face. And I always like saying base of your face because it rhymes and it amuses me more than anything in the world. To begin with, you can use a moisturizer or a primer. I personally don't love primers. I feel like they don't do anything more to the basic makeup routine that I do. I find I get the same results from a good moisturizing cream or gel or whatever you might use. So this is the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Gel Cream with hyaluronic acid. I get these at Costco in a 2-pack for the same price that you pay for one at the grocery store. So if you have a local Costco, go there. Next in the arsenal of foundation items is going to be obviously your foundation and a concealer. I use right now, the only foundation I have actually on hand, is the Filter Effect Soft Focus Foundation Medium to Full Coverage from Morphe, and I am in the color Filter Medium 13. This is a close match to what I was. I kind of got this foundation closer to the end of summer, beginning of fall, so I'm a little bit lighter now, but I make it work. We'll get into that a little bit later because there's a lot of difference in where you want your foundation to be blending into, whether it's your neck or if you just want it to be your face, ears. There's kind of 3 areas you got to focus on. You can't pick all 3 because they tend to be different colors. You're also going to want something to apply the foundation. Now, this does not mean you have to run out and buy any product to apply foundation, because the best tools that you have are on you. They're your fingers. You can get the same result using fingers to apply foundation. You just might use a little bit more product a little bit more quickly. What my go-to applicator is a beauty blender of some sort. This one is the Morphe Beauty Blender. It has the dome end and the flat edge for contouring, which we'll get into in another video. Any type of beauty blender that you soak underwater and pounce lightly foundation onto your skin is my preference. You can also go in with whatever brushes you have found. These are both Morphe brushes. This is a Morphe concealer brush. It's the Morphe M173. As you can see, it's not used. I do not use this brush for concealer. It's perfectly clean. I have tried this one for my foundation. I just don't like the results that a brush gives on my face. And this is the Morphe 439, and it is a dense little foundation brush to buff in and stipple in your foundation. I really enjoy the sponges. I just find you get a more even look to the foundation and better coverage, and the sponges don't hold on to as much product as the brushes or your finger does. So if you're looking to conserve the product that you're using, I highly recommend a sponge because you're not gonna lose a lot of product in application. The next thing you're gonna need, so that you know that your foundation is not going anywhere throughout the day, because you can get greasy, you can get creasy, lines, whatever it might be, is a good translucent powder. And I get this one from Walmart. It is just the Marcel face powder in translucent, which is nice because I powder like crazy and it goes all over whatever I'm wearing, and I usually have what I'm wearing on before I get ready, but it just brushes right out, so don't worry about fallout from translucent powder. Items that I don't use in my foundation routine that you can use and are very simple to use is something like a specific color corrector palette. And NYX has a really good color correcting palette. It comes with, I want to say 4 colors in it, maybe 6, but I know for sure it has a green, a purple, and an orange. And it does a good explanation on the packaging as to what to use what color for under your foundation. For me, I just use a little bit of whatever concealer I'm going to use on top of my foundation on any really noticeable discoloration, red spots, dark circles, anything like that before I apply my foundation. And I don't always do this because I do like a medium to full coverage foundation, and I like building my foundation to full coverage. So when I do that, I really don't need that first step of concealing anything under my foundation because I do go so full coverage for the most part. And you don't want to forget a little powder puff. This is just for application of the translucent powder. Of course, you can get any sort of powder brush. You obviously can't apply the translucent powder with your hands. You could try, and I wish you luck, but probably won't end well. So I highly recommend some sort of puff or some sort of powder brush to apply that translucent powder once you are done with all of your concealing, your foundation, your building of your foundation, whatever it might be. Another thing that I want to mention is foundation comes in obviously all brands, all shapes, all sizes. I always go for a foundation that has a pump on it, and that is just because as I learn the foundation, I can really control better how much I'm using, because usually I know by the number of pumps how much foundation I need. I always will start with 1 pump on my face, and we'll get into that, and go from there, because you really don't know the kind of coverage you're getting into until you work with it a little bit. Many foundations don't come with a pump, and you're welcome to use those. You just again risk wasting product and going through it more quickly, which means rebuying product even sooner than you probably need to. Concealers, they all just come usually with like a doe foot applicator, and there is really no rhyme or reason to them. I do like the NARS creamy concealer, and it comes in a pot, which I would probably use this brush for. No, that's a lie. Which I would probably use my fingers to apply, and then I would buff that out with the Beauty Blender as well. That I don't have on me right now. It is coming in a new order from Sephora, which means a Sephora haul is also coming. Now, with all that being said, we are going to jump right into the foundation video, so hang on tight and I'll see you in a second. Okay, so we're going to jump right into the foundation and concealer. So for the purpose of this video, I will use some concealer before applying my foundation. It is not something I typically do, only because, like I said in the intro of this video, I do like a full coverage foundation, so usually I can conceal everything with my foundation. The foundation I'm using is a medium to full coverage. That is my go-to. I will never go for a light coverage foundation just because I think it's a waste of money. Because you can get a no makeup look with a medium to full coverage by just using the minimal amount of a medium coverage foundation. For this video, I will go in with the Morphe concealer in C2.25, and I'm just going to take a little bit of that underneath the blue of my eyes, I would say the bags in my eyes, but I don't really have bags. I hope I don't have bags. And a couple of these spots and pigmentation that I have around the edge of my mouth. Another place I like to stick some concealer is the corners of your nose, right underneath and right on top. This just kind of makes application of the foundation a little bit easier to work with, because those are very problematic areas when trying to get a full coverage look in the corners of your nose, mouth, etc. So now I'm just going to buff all this in with my beauty blender. I did apply it all at once. I would suggest, if you're new to this, to apply it in phases, because foundation and concealer can both kind of set, and then it makes it really hard to blend out. So I'm going to blend this out quickly now before that happens to me. And like I said, I did get these matches done fairly close to the end of summer, so these are a little bit more tan than I like to be. I prefer to get a foundation that is lighter than my skin tone, but is also going to correct some of my undertones. I'm not going to go into all the different undertones. There's plenty of things on the internet that you can look up to figure out what undertones you have. One thing I can say is, if you're shopping for yourself for a foundation, you're going to want to make sure your arm is clean, and you can color match to the inside of your forearm just after where a watch would be, and that is going to be the closest to whatever natural skin would be on your face. That is the best place to do a color match if you're looking for something that is going to match and you're going to add the definition and the blush and the sculpting and all that kind of stuff. But I do prefer building a light foundation and adding in the other aspects of the face, like the contour and the bronzing and the blush. So now with that same beauty blender that I used on the concealer, I'm going to use it with the foundation. And my suggestion, like I said earlier, is a foundation with a pump. And I always go in somewhere on the beauty blender just with one pump, wipe off any excess that you might get on the pump itself, and I will dab that on, like, well, all over my face. I start with the center of the cheeks, center of the forehead, nose, chin, and jawline. Now, what you're gonna notice, if you get a medium to full coverage foundation, basically you can get a light coverage foundation, but you're gonna want a foundation that's buildable. That is the most versatile foundation, because you can go from a no makeup look to full red carpet type glam makeup. Nobody's gonna even know you have pores with anything that's buildable. So I always go in with one pump first, and I will just pounce that all over my face like I did with the concealer under the eyes and such. Now, one thing with one pump of foundation is it's really hard to blend that down on your neck. So I do find one pump for the face and maybe even one pump for the neck, ear kind of area, because if you do want to just go for this light coverage look, you want to make sure that your neck is also blended, and sometimes there's not enough foundation to go down your neck. I'm going to add more foundation to mine because I have some dark spots under my eyes and on my eyes. I also have a little bit of 5 o'clock shadow. I'm not super self-conscious about having a little bit of facial hair shine through my makeup. I usually do shave at least my mustache right before I apply. Obviously, as a girl, if you're doing this as a girl, you don't have to do that. I will use extra concealer above my upper lip as well. So I'm gonna go in now with 2 more pumps of foundation. What I suggest if you're new to foundation is you go in with 1 pump at a time if you're using a pump foundation, and see where you want to stop. I know that I like 3 pumps of foundation, so that is what I'm going to use. So I still go in with the 2nd pump, get that around where I need to have it, and then I go in with the 3rd. One thing I always do on my last application of foundation is towards the end of it running out on my sponge, I will go over my eyelids just to make that a blank canvas. You could also do this with concealer. It really doesn't matter. It's just a matter of getting rid of the pigmentation in the crease and on the eyelids. That will help you when you're doing your eyes later on. With every application of foundation, I always make sure to go over my problem areas, and you will learn that as you do your makeup more often where yours are. So mine tend to be the corner of my nose, the underside of my nose, the underside of my lip, and right in the corner of my eyes. That's usually where I lose coverage first throughout the day of wearing makeup. So I always focus a little bit more on those areas. That's why when I go back in with concealer, you will see me use it in the same places. Now, just because I mentioned it, I am going to take concealer, just a dab, on both of my eyelids to even out that skin tone above my eyes and in the brow bone area. And this will just make it easier for you to work on your eyelids later on when we do an eye look, and just help with blending out that shadow, and you're not trying to use eyeshadow to color correct colors and pigmentation in your eyelids and on your brow bone. This also helps me get right into the corner of my eyes, one of my problem areas. So that is how I do that. I then will take foundation, a couple dabs. You can do triangles under your eyes. I just do like 3 dabs under my eyes. Blend that out because you don't want it to dry. And then once that's done, I will go into my problem areas again with some concealer and make sure that I just add a little bit to my upper lip. And again, that's because of my facial hair. I always add some to the bridge of my nose. That's just a highlightable area. And the center of my forehead. Again, some areas you want to lighten up and highlight just for contrast and depth in your face. The last place I will take some concealer after my foundation is done is right in the corner of my nose and right on the underside. That is where I lose foundation the fastest. Most people do, and it's because you're constantly usually rubbing your nose or adjusting there. Another place is if you have glasses, sometimes the bridge of your nose, you might want to conceal a bit more, because if you're pushing your glasses up or they're constantly falling down, well, you should get your glasses adjusted for proper fit. But if that's happening, you're also going to end up losing some makeup in those areas. One thing that I did forget to mention in the very beginning before I started this process was moisturizer, and that's because I already had some on. But moisturizer, primer, whatever you decide to use, make sure you apply it, let it dry, and then go in with your concealer, foundation, concealer. That'll just give your makeup a little bit more to cling to. So this was already done. I put this on, let it dry, and it just allows my makeup to have that much more coverage and ease in application. Let me get my hair out of the way. We are essentially done with the face. You can go more foundation depending on your coverage desires. You can go more down the neck. You can put a little bit on your ears, because my ears, if you can see, are a little red. That doesn't bother me that much. This is where I would stop for a fairly full coverage look if I was going to do that. I could get this even more coverage. Keep in mind, the more you put on, the more you have to take off, and the heavier the overall makeup look is, so it can drag it down a little bit. Now that I have all of my concealing done, my foundation done, this is where I'm going to go in with my translucent powder, and I just shake a bunch into the lid, essentially, or the top of the container. I will dump some in the lid, and you can go to town here, because this is what's going to set all of this that we just did into place and give you that much more longevity. So you're just going to beat your face with your powder puff, put some in the lid of your container, use a brush, whatever you have, and you are going to do as so. I will always take a little bit of powder in my problem areas, which are right down the side of my nose and my upper lip, just so I have a little bit more coverage and longevity in those areas. Now don't worry if you see any excess powder in your eyebrows or on your face. That will get brushed away with the brush bronzer sculpting kind of next steps. For the most part though, the translucent powder blends right in. It will show up a little bit in your hairline, so make sure when you're done your foundation and your powder that you are kind of making sure you don't have a bunch of foundation or powder in your hair. This looks really flat and odd, I get that, but the sole reason for this video was to show you how to get a very basic and flawless foundation to start the rest of your face, because without a good base to your face, you are not going to be able to achieve the look you want when adding in the other components like blush, like bronzer, like sculptors, all that kind of stuff. So also, the translucent powder is all over my shirt. It'll be all over your shirt. If you do it as messy as I do, I don't care. It comes off. It's translucent. So it just brushes off. Doesn't leave any residue or anything like that. Just make sure you brush yourself off if you're using translucent powder before you leave the house, because I have gone out with a bunch of powder all over my chest. You don't want to lose a bunch of product, so I always tap whatever was excess in the lid back off into the container and brush it off whatever surface I'm working on. Currently I'm working on my kitchen table, so make sure that's clean when it's done, because other things will stick to it, other powder products, that kind of stuff. For the rest of this look, because this is where we're going to leave this video off, you're going to have to tune in to the rest of the series for a very basic makeup look. But the next video in this series is going to show you how to add that definition, those shadows, those highlights, that kind of stuff back into your face, because now you're working with a blank canvas, and a blank canvas that isn't going to go anywhere throughout the day, because you took the time to build up your foundation in steps. You took the time to conceal before and after. Maybe you needed to take the time to color correct before any of that, and then you powdered your face to shit. That is key, because the powder is really what sets and locks in that foundation, and it stops it from creasing in any fine lines, dragging down, movement, anything like that. So those are the key components to a good base for your face if you are going to be starting to dive into the world of makeup, or just want to improve on your current skills, or take your glam to the next level. This is where the magic starts, and I do say magic because I go into the bathroom looking like Gollum some mornings, and I come out looking fabulous. It just takes time, patience, and practice. So the sooner you perfect your base, the easier the other steps are going to be to follow along with. So this is the basic flawless foundation for beginners, and it does not take long to perfect. I taught myself all of my makeup on my own, honestly, by observing my mom when I was really little, and then just experimenting before there was YouTube tutorials for makeup. So this is just video 1 in a series of 3 for the full face that is going to come out on my channel. I'm going to post new videos every Sunday. So the next video coming at you will be the Sunday after this one, and it will be on adding the depth and contours and shadows back to your face using products like blush, bronzer, contour, highlight, etc. So stay tuned for the other videos in this series. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!